the other game that we saw Tuesday was Minnesota beating Golden State. Now, I don't even know if I want to get into the game itself because everything changed in the third quarter when Steph Curry went out. Second quarter, went out with that hamstring injury. And this is called a grade 1 hamstring injury. When I've talked to some team trainers and again, using the usual Twitter experts out there, the guys that judge this thing, we're talking at least a week, if not longer.
They put out a statement that he will be reevaluated in a week.
That's not
They didn't
good.
say he'll miss a week.
That's not
We'll
good.
reevaluate him in a week. And you and I both know that means he's not coming back in a week.
You're talking probably 2 weeks if he's lucky to get back in on the back end of this series. I guess the question I would put to you is, can what's left of Golden State, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, the revival maybe of Jonathan Kuminga, do they have enough to beat Minnesota?
It just kind of depends on which version of Minnesota we see, right? Because Minnesota went through a stretch at the beginning of the season where they did not look good, which is why they ended up in the playoff. Even though they had a great second half of the season, they ended up in the playoff seed they had because they had so much trouble at the beginning of the season. They look like a mess, frankly, in most of Game 5 against the Lakers. I still am not entirely sure how they won that game, although Rudy Gobert obviously just was like, well, there's no one in the center by the basket. I'll just go there. That's obviously not the case with the Warriors. Their combined three-point rating over the percentage over the last 2 games, so Game 5 against the Lakers and Game 1, is the worst in NBA history. The worst ever in the history of the NBA. It is the worst. So if they can rediscover their collective three-point shot, if Anthony Edwards does not go an entire half with 1 point and not score in his first 10 shots, if the Wolves become the Wolves team that we have seen them be at times toward the back half of the season, I don't think they'll have any problem with the Warriors. However, if they are not at the top of their game, I do think the Warriors still have a player in Jimmy Butler who is, I think, a 4-time all-defensive player and also has been the number 1 leader of a team for years and years and years and knows how to do it. They are playing Draymond Green, who is a, 8-time all-defensive player, the former defensive player of the year in the running this year, and an all-time player who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. They are playing a team that is very good and knows how to disrupt you and knows how to, think of ways for you not to score. So you have to be better. And I thought Chris Finch took an interesting tactic. I want to know what you think about it at the end of the game. In the post-game press conference, of being like, yeah, Ant needs to do better. He called him out. He said their transition game, this team, was, quote, diabolical. I've never, that's an excellent word. I haven't heard that about a coach describing his own team. Some of the numbers, I'm sure you have them, are crazy.
Yeah, I agree with the Edwards part. Edwards, last couple of games, going back to the end against the Lakers, have not been good. Anthony Edwards in that, Game 5, is not the reason that Minnesota advanced. In fact, he was...
No, Rudy Gobert was the reason.
Rudy Gobert is the reason. The last 2 games, Anthony Edwards is 12 of 41 from the floor. And I think it's 1 of 16 from three-point range. He has been atrocious over the last couple of games. And I thought you said Chris Finch. I thought you were going to bring up the comment he made about how Edwards needs to bring more energy. He's got to play with more energy at the start of these games and be the guy that everyone thinks he's going to be. As far as the Warriors go, to me, it all comes down to Kuminga. Kuminga, they got to roll Kuminga out there, and they got to hope he turns into the all-star they thought he was. He has been such a bit player throughout this postseason. He played in, 2 games? He was part of Game 2 because of the Butler injury, played 26 minutes, only shot 33% from the floor. Game 3 went down to 17 minutes, 42% from the floor. Played sparingly in Game 7, where he was 0 of 4 from the floor, 2 of 5 in Game 1 against Minnesota. Nobody's going to be Steph Curry. But Kuminga's got to be an efficient 15 to 20 point scorer if they're going to have any chance. Jimmy, you saw Jimmy during Game 1, exhausted.
No.
Exhausted. Strapping a team on his back ain't as easy as it used to be for Jimmy Butler.
Correct. He's got more help this time.
More help, yes. But they're relying on Buddy Hield too to be efficient. Draymond is what Draymond is. I don't know. I just think that if Steph had been healthy coming off Game 1, I would say Minnesota's in trouble. They just have not looked good. Anthony has not looked good the last couple of games. But with Steph out for at least a week, I don't know. I don't know how they recover from that.
I just think it really. I honestly think it's a Minnesota question. If Minnesota plays to the level it should be able to play at, I do not think the Warriors can win. However, Minnesota has shown it does not always play at that level, including very recently. And I do think the Warriors are an experienced team full of guys, especially their top two at this point, who know how to find ways to win. I think it's interesting talking about Jimmy. He's been disruptive of team chemistry over and over. I'm not saying he's a good chemistry guy because we've seen him mess up the chemistry of multiple teams. That doesn't mean he doesn't understand team chemistry. He knows when he's messing it up. He's doing it on purpose. And he knows when he's fostering it. And he has been trying to foster it since the day he got to San Francisco. He has been very clear from day one, hey, I'm Robin to Steph Curry's Batman, which is obvious, by the way, but also takes all of the questioning out of it, right? Takes all of that conversation out, means that the Warriors don't have to deal with that noise. He has also clearly been trying to connect with Buddy Hield and doing this sort of playful teasing, everyone can get on the bus except for Buddy. But it's in the way, and it's very obvious, that I am singling you out because I think you are worthy of that attention. And he has been fostering Buddy's confidence since the day he got there. He identified that as this is a player who can raise his game. And it is what made a huge difference in their Game 7 against the Warriors and in this game last night. And I just, that will get lost in the shuffle if the Warriors lose this series. But I think it is an interesting way that Butler has contributed to this team beyond all of the obvious things that he does.